What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. What's going on, everyone? I hope everyone is doing extremely well. Yes, I know by the sound of my voice, I don't sound too, outraged, too mad. We just, got to include some rages. Obviously, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I have been raging quite a bit. Mets have been a very interesting team these last couple days to last couple weeks. But please, everyone, let's get the chat rolling on. Let's get some more people in here. If you can, share this video, hit that like button, give any comments or thoughts you have in the comment section down below. Let's get this channel out to more New York Mets and baseball fans overall, regardless of what fan base you like. So in today's stream, we are going to be going over the New York Mets and Washington Nationals series summary. Then we are going to be transitioning into the New York Mets and Miami Marlins series preview. Big series coming up for the New York Mets and I guess kind of the Miami Marlins. I mean, they're out of contention anyways, but you know what? Things are never too late with the Mets or the Marlins, obviously. So yeah, please, everyone, smash that like button. So let's get started to the New York Mets and Washington Nationals series summary. Diving right into things, we could see game one. Game one was on Friday. It was a long series. I will tell you that. It was a very long series. Game one we saw was on Friday. The Mets won 6-2. We had Rich Hill on the bump for the New York Mets, who honestly had one of his best starts as a New York Met in a Mets uniform. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Rich Hill honestly developed some new stuff. We saw his curveball was in effect, which he always uses, but it looked great regardless. And then following that, he did something new. He used kind of like a slide arm slider. That's a tongue twister there, I know. But he started to throw more sidearm, and he really used that against guys like Juan Soto, and that really helped out his performance for the night. Giving up 0 runs, that's really awesome. Following that, we had Seth Lugo come in, pretty quiet. Same for Aaron Loup, pretty quiet. We had Edwin Diaz come in for the first time of this series. And what happened? He blew it. He blew the first game in the series. He attempted to close it. 2 earned runs, 2 hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Sadly, Diaz cannot get the job done. Familia was able to finish it off in extras. But getting into the Mets offense, we saw the Mets offense really exploded this game to an extent. We had Michael Conforto come up in the second inning, had an RBI single to drive in Javier Baez. Following that, we saw in the third inning, Pete Alonso, my boy, Big Meat Pete, came in and had an RBI triple to drive in Brandon Nimmo. And it's interesting, the Mets got a lot of triples this series and very extra good base running. We saw the Mets went on like a 69 game whatever you want to call it, without getting a triple. So that was really interesting to see. Yet, I think since that time, we've had, 5 triples so far. So that's been pretty funny. Following that, we had Alonso come in once again into the 10th inning and had an RBI single to drive in Lindor. Following that, also going into the 10th inning, we had the Kevin Pillar RBI double driving Conforto, and then also Alonso, as well as a Jonathan VR RBI single to drive in Pillar. So game one was very suspenseful, as we saw. A lot of action went down. The Mets didn't blow it, but overall, the Mets were able to get by. So that's all we'll ask for. Game two was really something else. We saw game 2 was Saturday's game. Mets won 11-9. Also, a very crazy game. We had Marcus Stroman on the bump. Stroman, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, and 3 walks, as well as 2 strikeouts. We saw the splitter slider was in effect. Really no complaints for Stroman. He did get some offense early on in the game, so that was really good to see. Following that, we had Miguel Castro come in. 0.1 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 runs. He did have some poor defense on his side. We're not going to say who did that. and then a strikeout. We saw his command on the pitches were not there. Tough time for Castro. Following that, we had Brad Hand to come in a really big situation. His first time in a Mets uniform, making his debut at the one and only Nationals Park, the team that picked him up. So I found that very funny, really, to see simply overall. So great to see. He was quiet, got out of the jam. We had Seth Lugo come in, struggled a little bit, gave up 2 earned runs to give the Nationals the tie in the 9th inning. Following that, we had Trevor May, Heath Hembrian, solid, no complaints with them. And in terms of the Mets offense, again, we kind of got things done early on. We had Francisco Lindor get an RBI single in the first inning to drive in VR. And then following that, we had Pete Alonso to hit a sac fly to deep right field, caught great by Soto, but still was regardless of routine play. But just, good way for Soto to track that down. And he drove in Brandon Nimmo on that. Following the second inning, when the Mets really did some action, you had Javier Baez hit a solo home run over 400 feet just about. You had a VR RBI single to drive in Jeff McNeil. You had a Nimmo single to drive in Mazika. And then obviously a Lindor sac fly to drive in VR. So overall, this was really a very, very, very tough offensive game for the Mets. But they were able to keep the score very close. And honestly, the Mets and one-run games have been something that has been going on for, honestly, most of the season. So I'm dumb to it by now. So now getting into Game 3. Quickly enough, getting into Game 3, which was Saturday's game. This was also a doubleheader, so these were 7 innings. But Game 1 obviously went into extras, so it could not be a 7-inning game. We saw Game 3. We had Tyler McGill on the bump for the New York Mets. 6th inning pitched, 7 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 8 strikeouts, and he did give up 2 home runs. We see he was giving up some contact there. Unfortunately, not the best crazy outing for McGill. The long ball's been a problem with him these last couple games, I have noticed. But in terms of that, he went the whole game because it was a 7-inning game. The offense, it was tough. Obviously, in terms of doubleheaders, usually the Mets play the first game well, and then in Game 2, their offense is pretty much not there. Pretty much, Michael Conforto in the first inning got an RBI single to drive in Jonathan VR. In the 6th inning, to try to become clutch and try to keep the game closer, Kevin Pillar hit a 2-run homer to drive in Conforto. Pretty rough game overall. 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, left 5 on base. The offense was very quiet. Nimmo wasn't there. Obviously, Brandon Nimmo had to leave the game due to hamstring tightness. And if I had $1 every time I heard someone say tightness with the Mets, it honestly drives me nuts that all this tightness, elbow tightness, forearm tightness, all I hear is tightness with this team. We know there was a whole controversial thing because Trey Mancini had leg tightness or something. And then everyone was saying, soreness. And everyone was all getting up in his case about it, saying, it's the end of the season. You should be sore. I don't know. Just baseball, a lot of controversy. And then McCann was back. So I think I know the reason we didn't score any offensive runs is because James McCann was there. Whenever James McCann is in the picture, the Mets managed to screw up. Now getting into Game 4, it feels like this series really went on for 10 years, give or take. Getting into Game 4, which was Sunday's game, Mets really put on a big effort. 13-6, the New York Mets, the Metropolitans won. We had Taijuan Walker on the bump, 4.1 innings pitched, 6 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Early on in the game, he pitched pretty solidly. He pounded the strike zone very, very well. I liked what I saw in him going early in the game. He mixed up his pitches, something that he's been doing a lot. And we saw the transition from the 2-seamer to the 4-seamer to give up more light contact and try to avoid less barrels and long balls, which was something that kind of occurred following the All-Star game. So that was Walker's performance. Nothing too crazy. Following that, we had Familia come in, Castro come in, Loop, May, and Edwin Diaz come in. All quiet. Our bullpen pitched, sleeping sound. Great to see. Following this, our offense was pretty good for the most part. We had Michael Conforto get some things done. Early on in the first inning, he had an RBI single to bring in Lindor. We had Javier Baez hit an RBI single to drive in McNeil, and then we had to drive in Alonso, and then we had Jeff McNeil get a sac fly. He's in a slump now, McNeil, so it really sucks him to see not provide major offense, but he got a run, and RBI. That's all that matters in the books. Following that, going into the second and third inning, Baez and VR both hit a pair of solo home runs. Great to see those two guys really getting active. Following that, going into the eighth inning, we had Patrick Mazeika get a sac fly RBI. So good to see Mazeika actually putting the ball in the air for once. Usually he's just a light ground ball dribbler to like the first baseman, World Series 1986 Game 6. And then obviously Francisco Lindor in the ninth inning had a home run. Conforto had an RBI single to bring in Alonso. Pilar had a grand slam. So really good to see this Mets offense really come back in this game. And now getting into Game 5, yesterday's game, the game of everything that needs to be talked about. It was overall a very rough game for the Mets, offensively for the most part, and in terms of pitching. Everyone knows yesterday's game. I don't really need to go over it too much, but we are. Getting in to Game 5, the Mets lost 4-3. Should have been 3-2, but, whatever. That's how life works. Trevor Williams was on the bump, and honestly, his slash line may not look super great. 5 innings pitched, 10 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. You may say to yourself, that's kind of crappy. He honestly did pretty solid. He got out of a lot of jams. He was solid, effective, like we said. If you go on his Baseball Savant, his Baseball Reference, any website that gives you any Major League Baseball information, his stuff doesn't look great. But he's just been effective with the Mets so far, and I will take that. He really had his defense back him up. Javier Baez, Alonso made a nice grab. Baez made a lot of nice, good dives and jumps to throw out a lot of runners. Lindor, some great double play combination. So his defense was really, really, really in effect for him throughout the game. So, yeah, and I say it, defense wins championships. I mean, we saw what it did to us in the World Series in 2015, and simply enough, it didn't help us out. So, yeah, really sucked. Following that, we could see going into the other pitching, we had Jeurys Familia, Brad Hand, and Seth Lugo come in all quiet. Following the offense, we saw the first inning. It was kind of the Pete Alonso show for the most part this game. Pete Alonso had an RBI single to right. I like to see Pete start going the other way more, go more right field, and that's what he did. He just has so much raw power that he could pull the ball the other way. And usually for most guys, it may just be a simple ground out. But for him, he actually pulls the ball where the first baseman, the second baseman, even if there's a shift on him, which, yeah, that's been an issue for Alonso. He can't beat the shift. But now he's starting to beat the shift. So I really like to see Alonso doing that. So Alonso had that. In the fourth inning, McNeil had an RBI ground out, drove in Baez. So, I mean, I'll give him that. It helped us out with something. And then in the sixth inning, Pete Alonso had a solo home run to left field. His 30th of the season. Great to see. So pretty much the New York Mets went into the ninth inning with the score of 3-2. And most people would have said, oh, we got this. Okay, we're good. 3-2, it's the Nationals lineup. Yes, it was the meat of the Nationals lineup, but for the most part, they looked pretty solid. Bottom 9, you have Edwin Diaz in. To start off, 4 balls straight away to Escobar and Josh Bell. Simply enough, the slide, the command on a slider was not visible, and he just looked very lost out there. I'll say that. Following that, he gave up the tying single to Michael Conforto by Stevenson. Great effort by Conforto to try to throw the runner out at home. The Mets did challenge this. They claim that Escobar didn't touch. Sadly, it looked like he touched it, so I really don't know. But overall, it sucked to see. Following that, you have runners on first and third in the ninth inning. Keep in mind, there's 1 out. Juan Soto hit a ball to an extent, pretty solidly to the left field line, and McNeil was able to make the grab. Solid defense there to get aggressive near the wall. It's very questionable if a guy like Dom Smith would have been able to make that catch. And then here comes the thing that everyone gets upset about. Edwin Diaz officially gives up an RBI single to Carter Kieboom to drive in the winning run. This was just a very unfortunate game for the Mets. And simply enough, Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz has been coming on a huge roll, and it really sucks that it just really came down to that. You know, pretty much during the press conference, McCann kind of defended him, saying, "Oh, you know, it looked like his stuff was there. I didn't really know." And, you know, honestly, it comes to the point now where I just don't even know what to say anymore with it. You know, it's 6 games. 6 games, simply enough, is a lot. I mean, do the math. What's 69 plus 6? And, you know, and not even go 6. You know, relievers blow games. But, like, the series in Pittsburgh, that's 2 games. I mean, that's 71 right there. So that really, and, you know, it's every game matters. You know, if this was May, if this was April, maybe if this was June, I would say to myself, oh, well, you know, this isn't the worst thing in the world. We have time. Let's blow it off. But you see, that's not the scenario anymore. It comes to the point now where the Mets are hovering around 500, and you need every single game in the books as a W. Simply enough, you know, especially against a team like the Nationals, especially a team like the Marlins. You need these, listen, the Nationals, the Marlins, they're teams too. So when people go around saying, oh, it's the Nationals, oh, it's the Marlins, well, you know, it doesn't really work like that. You know, they're baseball teams too. Yes, you got Juan Soto, who is definitely a very scary guy, but, you know, these are baseball teams. You know, these teams can play baseball. And I am trying to pull up the lineup for tonight. I don't know if it was released yet. Let me know in the chat if it was released, or else I'm not even going to bother going on Twitter. But yeah, I don't know. Simply enough, very unfortunate to see out of this. You know, I'm not going to sit here and rant about it for 10 minutes because it's the same thing. You know, for the past couple months, I've been coming on these streams saying really the same thing with this team. And it comes to a point where I'm just going to record myself and I'm just going to play that over and over again. You know, it's just, I don't know. Stuff. So, you know, getting aside with the Mets and Nationals, you know, there was some positives, there was some negatives. But yeah. So we have 13 people in the chat. Unlucky number 13. So I don't know what that's going to mean for the Mets. But yeah, you know, with the Mets and Nationals series, you know, there were some pros, there were some cons. Yes, we took 3 out of 5. If you go to my last stream, did pretty well. If you guys could check that out, please do. I said 3 out of 5 would be the best. Anything least, I would be upset. And you know what? The Mets were able to do that. So I will certainly take that for the Mets. Simply enough, though, the 2 games we did win, yeah, we won them, but it wasn't bright. Simply enough, it was not bright. So I don't know. It just comes to the point with the Mets. It's just becoming exasperating. I don't know anymore. And I keep saying it, and it's just getting very annoying. So yeah. So I guess, you know, we did see some good stuff with the Mets, though. Don't say the Mets and National Series was completely useless. We did see some good stuff this series. We saw a lot of guys, Francisco Lindor, Javier Baez, really change their approach at the plate. They were really kind of in a detonation approach. We saw this team taking a lot of pitches. I mean, I couldn't really tell you. I didn't see many times where the count was 0-2. I saw a lot of, counts that favored the batter as opposed to the pitcher. But the approach for this team was much, much, much better. And I really hope they can continue this in Miami and wherever the Mets play following Miami. So, yeah. So getting into the Mets and Marlins series, let's dive into that because hopefully this will be more exciting. You see, I got my Marlins cap on, appropriate attire for the stream. So game 1, pretty much we are in Miami. I will unfortunately not be going any of those games. I do have some stuff going on. So, yes, we're going to have to see. Pretty much getting into game 1 with the Mets and Marlins. We could see it is tonight, Tuesday at 6:40. Why is it at 6:40? I could not tell you. I have no idea. 6:40 in Miami. For the Mets, we will have Carlos Carrasco on the bump. 0-2 on the season, 6.59 ERA, and 28 strikeouts. We see that, pretty much try to limit the hard contact with him. and try to get out of the first inning. We really see the same thing with Villar. With Carrasco. We really see the same thing with Carrasco. And the same exact thing is that he really struggles in the first inning. And then simply enough, he'll have a great remainder of the game. So, I'm really hoping that he could really try to lock that down. Now, for the Miami Marlins, we will have Cabrera, who is 0-1 this season, 5.23 ERA and 4 strikeouts. He has a nice changeup. We did face him last week, I believe. 4 innings pitched against us, gave up 7 hits and 3 runs. So obviously, hopefully, the Mets could try to get something rolling against him. That is the goal, Mets to get something against Cabrera. Getting into Game 2, we could see Game 2 will be Wednesday at 6:40. I don't know why these games are at 6:40, but honestly, I prefer them much better. I think a while ago I did a live stream and someone asked me, should the Mets do 6:40 games opposed to 7:10 games? And I actually was in favor of that just because it's beneficial. If you have school, if you have work, you can't stay up late. I mean, let's say a game starts 7:10. Maybe it ends 10 o'clock. And then, So I think Steve Cohen should definitely look into that in terms of the scheduling for next year. So we have Rich Hill on the bump, 0-2 this season, 4.06 ERA and 28 strikeouts. We see his curveball is always in effect, always in effect for Rich Hill, a.k.a. Dick Mountain, the 41-year-old veteran. Don't be fooled. He is very, very appropriate at what he does. We'll say that. And he did start to do this, as I expressed, this new sidearm technique. He really was only using it, I guess, against Soto, but he kind of used it against the Nationals order. So maybe try this. And then obviously at least try to go 4 or 5 innings pitched. Versus Sandy Alcantara or Alcantara. I have no idea how to pronounce it. Everyone tells me I always pronounce it wrong, so I am sorry. Alcantara or Alcantara. 8-13 on the season, 3.36 ERA, 164 strikeouts. He pounds the strike zone well, pretty much. He has a nice sinker, high chase rate, high velocity, a lot of good stuff there. So Alcantara is a guy that I think the Marlins are definitely going to have a nice time with for years to come. Now getting into Game 3. Game 3 will be Thursday at 6:40. So all 3 of these games are at 6:40, keep in mind. We will have Marcus Stroman on the bump, 9-12 this season, 2.93 ERA, and 136 strikeouts. The splitter slider, keep that swinging and miss rate up, the chase rate up, usual expectations for Stroman. Keep the ball on the ground, supposed to pretty much keep the ball on the ground, supposed to in the air. He will be facing Jesus Luzardo, 3-3 on the season, 7.15 ERA and 31 strikeouts. Left-handed pitcher. Luckily, his main pitch is not a fastball, so that kind of gives the Mets one out of two things to, I guess, be favorites of him. He gives up a lot of contact, I will say that, and he does have some velocity. So that is the Mets and Marlins. Pretty much coming into the series, the Mets are 69-69. Nice. I know everyone's going to say nice. Just say it in the comment section. Get it over with. Nice. I get that. Mets are 69-69. We have the red-hot Jonathan Villar coming in to the series. He has been a guy who has been huge for the Mets this last couple series. There is a stat I wanted to share with you guys. So if you guys could hold on for 2 seconds, let me pull that up. So now getting into that, there was a little stat thing I wanted to share. Photos, pardon me for a minute. Hold on, folks. All right, here it is. Jonathan Villar, in his last 30 games, 342 batting average, a 388 on-base percentage, a 613 slugging, and over 1,000, and you have to add a 1 at the end, OPS, 8 home runs, and 16 ribbies. That is awesome, Jonathan Villar. Jonathan Villar has been elite these last couple games. So hopefully you have the red-hot Jonathan Villar. You have Javier Baez, who I think went like 6 for 6, as you know, in the series at one point against the Nationals. And then you have Pete Alonso, who I mean has pretty solid numbers at Marlins Park or Lone Depot Park. My apologies. I mean, for the most part, Lone Depot Park, it's not really like a crazy hitter's ballpark. I think it's an average ballpark, nothing too crazy. And now getting into the Marlins, they are 57-80 on the season, so not so nice. In terms of their offensive production, we can see they are 27th in runs, 26th in batting average, 27th in on-base percentage, and 29th in slugging. But don't be fooled by the numbers. This team is a really good team deep down. They have young players. They have the talent. They have the athleticism, and they have the speed. And, of course, they have the great managing of Don Mattingly. Pretty much they are coming off a series win against the Philadelphia Phillies, 2 out of 3. So good to see. One of those was in extra innings, and the Phillies took it. So I guess in terms of that, if they didn't have that extra inning rule, maybe the Marlins could have swept. And then you have Miguel Rojas, the shortstop on the injury list, who was a guy that, I don't know, for the most part, pretty solid guy for the Miami Marlins. So we're going to have to see, honestly, what the Mets really could do in this series. Everyone is telling me the lineup is out, so I am going to pull that up. But everyone, please, if you can, smash that like button. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to drop them below. It's been quiet, with the Mets and all that stuff going on. Very, very quiet, I'll tell you that. YouTube, I know someone commented it before. YouTube's been pretty quiet with Mets, and you know what? Yes, it goes to show who's a real Mets fan and who's not. You stick with your team regardless of the times. I mean, I know Orioles fans. I know Marlins, you stick with them. So getting into tonight's lineup, we will have batting first, the third baseman, Jonathan Villar. Batting second, the $341 million man himself, the shortstop, Francisco Lindor. Batting third, the kind of red hot to an extent, Pete Alonso, playing first base. Batting fourth, cleanup, the right fielder, Michael Conforto, coming off kind of a hot slate. He struggled his last appearance in Game 5 in the Washington series, but has been pretty solid so far. Batting fifth, the second baseman, the newly acquired New York Met from the Chicago Cubs, Javier Baez, also been very hot. Batting nextly, we will have the left fielder, Jeff McNeil. McNeil's been pretty nice out there defensively for the Mets. Batting following that, we will have center fielder Kevin Pillar. Following that, behind the plate at the catcher's position, we will have Patrick Mazeika. They've been working Mazeika quite a bit, and it is a little concerning. So hopefully the Mets could try to give Mazeika some rest soon. And then obviously for the Mets on the bump, Carlos Carrasco. Honestly, it's going to be a really, really good series ahead for the Mets. This lineup looks pretty adequate for the most part, so hopefully the Mets could try to keep something ahead. So that is it with the New York Mets and Miami Marlins series preview, the New York Mets and Washington Nationals series summary. Now we're going to get into your guys' comments. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, drop them below. I will be very delighted to hear them. I read every single comment, so do not worry. Doesn't have to be Mets related. It could be Phillies, Astros, Mariners, whatever you guys got. Yes, most of my knowledge is pertaining to the Mets, but, you got to try. So what's going on, everyone? Kobe, Mark, what's going on? Let's go Mets. Quentin, AB, Quentin again. Z Sports Cards, Kobe. Mets need to sweep against the Marlins. You got to believe, folks. Yes, sir. That is the goal. Paul, Rob, what's going on, man? Yes, the man, the myth, the legend. It's rage time. Yeah, what's going on, everyone? What's going on? Marco, what's going on? Marco was going to say, this is a dangerous offense we've been waiting for, running on all cylinders. Let's freaking go Mets. Yeah, dude. Like I said, the names are here. The history with these guys are here. We're just not seeing the exact production. See Sports Cards. We need a new closer next season. I'm done with Diaz. I'm done if Diaz is still the closer. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure who exactly is available in terms of the bullpen on the free agency market, but we'll have to see what the Mets do. TP35, what's going on, man? I appreciate you tuning in. Rage time. Yeah, hopefully you guys do like my rages when I post them on Twitter. Hey, everyone. Karen, what's going on? Quentin, Karen, Christopher. Yeah, Diaz has been something. Zuri says Diaz is the most underrated player in bet. Nah, get out of here with that. Michael, what's going on? TP35, what's going on? This is my third rant. Honestly, I think this is like my 8th rant so far this day. Ruben says the Mets seem to play well when there's controversy facing them. I was actually thinking that because as soon as something happens, the Mets just play well. Even spring training, I mean, stuff happens and they play well. So I don't know. Maybe that's what the Mets need. Maybe the Mets need all eyes on them. Maybe the Mets feed off of it. I don't know. I know guys like Pete Alonso feed off of energy and crowd and loudness. Maybe that's what they need. Maybe it really is. Drew says, I'm really hoping Brad Hand is thriving under Hefner. He was a ground ball merchant all series. Yeah, I mean, and luckily he did have some defense on him. Sadly, he did have some poor defense on him. But yeah, I have noticed that. I did notice that. Look, Jeremy Hefner, he's a great guy. We've seen what he's done with this rotation for the first half and honestly even 2019. So, and kind of 2022, he didn't really help Porcello out super much or Waka, but still, it works. Kobe said it, and I said it before. Mets YouTube has been quiet. I guess people are giving up on the season. Yeah, and you know what? The 12 people in the chat, the dozen people listening, you guys are the real Met fans. You guys tune around no matter what, whether you're an Orioles fan, a Marlins fan, a Tigers fan, or a team that is a sub, way below 500. You guys are the OGs. You guys stick with your team no matter what. That's a real Mets fan. But yeah, you know what? And listen, as soon, I guarantee you, and there's a walk-off or something, everyone's going to be coming back here. If we sweep the Marlins, everyone's going to be coming back and we're saying, holy crap, we're World Series bound. And even if you're not a Marlins fan, it's cool. No worries. Mark's here. He says, let's freaking go Mets. Yeah, what's going on, man? It's hot out. It really is hot out today in Florida. Got to stay hydrated. What's going on, Mark? I appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, Karen's right. Never give up on your team, no matter how bad. Of course. Eric is going to say, hey, I love your baseball memorabilia collection. Yeah, dude, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice collection for the most part. There's a lot in it. People are telling me to make videos about it. So I'm hoping to definitely start to do that soon. Like a nice little memorabilia show-off collection. I'm probably going to do that. So if you guys would like that, let me know. I'm definitely down to doing that. Ruben, what's going on? Mr. Blueberry, what's going on, man? I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well. Vincent, Nick says, when is Nimmo coming back? Yeah, I mean, Nimmo, like we said, he does have, hamstring tightness. He was rounding second to third to home base, and he must have pulled something as soon as he touched third base. Before in the game, he kind of overslid third base, and they asked Nimmo during the press conference, they said, do you think that had anything to do with it? He said that was just nothing else, and he said he just felt a pinch, and he has tightness. It sucks. Hopefully he can come back soon. You don't want to press him. But Nimmo's health is, very unfortunate. Imagine this dude could stay healthy. I mean, that's why when people say they want to trade him, I don't put up a crazy argument. Although, you got to keep him. But, if he can get over the hump with these injuries, I think he could really be a good player. Yeah, McNeil did look much better. I will say that. McNeil did look better. He was hitting the ball actually pretty well. He wasn't striking out. He was putting the ball in play, just, kind of like the Lindor concept. It's finding gloves. It was hit hard. The launch angle was there. It was going like that. It's good to see. Baseball's my air. What's going on? Extel and Mago. Yeah, I mean, so far he's been doing pretty well. I mean, I'll tell you this. Baez has been putting up better results with his new team than Rizzo and Gallo. And maybe even Brian, I think, too. I saw something like that. Yeah, Christopher, I agree with you, man. You can never give up. Never give up. No white flag, no surrendering. I agree. Karen agrees with you on that. Zach, not cool, YouTube. There, I said all right. What's going on, man? I really appreciate you tuning in. Mark says, let's go Mets, of course. Vincent, Edwin Diaz. Logan says, good to see the Mets offense explode this series with good to see the Mets offense explode this series with Baez, VR, Alonso, and Conforto. Yeah, you could even add, honestly, probably even add Lindor to that list. I'm trying to think who else you could add. Pilar. Yeah, I mean, we saw the approach. I mean, they were really going for, a detonated now approach, and I really liked it. Jed, what's going on? Yeah, and I mean, that's the argument you could make too. It is against the Nationals, sure, but it's a baseball team. I mean, if only they could have done this approach of stealing bases, not swinging first pitch, taking pitches, waiting in the count. I mean, why do you wait now? You should have did this. I mean, in the first half. Jack in the Box, what's going on, man? Quentin put on a nice little thing saying, if the Mets bring back this unreliable Diaz next year, they are crazy. I know no closer is perfect, but it seems he's always making us sweat with his poor control and penchant. I've never heard of that word for blowing big games. And then I'm guessing he's giving an example like 2019. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. It's very exasperating that it's coming to this point. He blew 6 games this year, so it sucks to see. It really does. Like I said, I don't know who is on the market for, in terms of a closer. I mean, if Brad Hand can go back to what he was before with Cleveland, I mean, I'd be down to that. I'd take that. I mean, Diaz, I think he could honestly, I mean, that's the thing is, can Diaz pitch in the 7th or 8th inning? I mean, we'll see. Imagine Diaz starting a game. That'd be kind of weird. Yeah, this is the 69-69. Nice, yeah. Quentin, what's going on? You believe Mets trading Diaz was the biggest mistake they ever made? For the most part, I mean, Diaz. Okay, let's say this: Diaz was the guy they were going for. I don't think they were shooting for a 35-year-old second baseman veteran in Robinson Cano. They had Jeff McNeil coming up. They were trying to see what they were going to do in terms of that. I think the big eye was Edwin Diaz. And I mean, and if you want to say Cano was the big part of that, okay, well, Cano's pretty much canceled now. I mean, he did steroids. He lost his respect. And I mean, are you really going to use anything with them? I mean, maybe you can get something out of him. You can have him on the bench, maybe as an offensive guy to help out this crew. But I don't know what they're going to do with him. But yeah, Diaz, I don't know. It's just what you gave up for. I mean, we invested so much in Diaz. I mean, you gave up, so much prospects and pitching. You gave up Kalanick. I mean, you really gave up a lot. Yes, Mets fan is kind enough to share the lineup that I briefly went over. So yeah, pretty interesting lineup. The one thing I'm not super crazy about, I kind of liked, and they talked about it on SNY, was the double lefties leading off, or just in general, any double lefty. Because you had a lefty, and let's say your leadoff guy is Nimmo, VR, or Lindor, and they get on base. Likely your leadoff guy is to get on base. So if that happens for the Mets, then the team is really trying to steal bases and be aggressive on the base pass, whether it's stealing bases or getting a lead. A left-handed batter blocks the catcher's view of first base. So I think that's good. And even maybe to an extent, the right side of the middle infield. So I think that's good. And I'm glad Alonso's back in the 2nd or 3rd. I didn't like Alonso batting 4th. I didn't like him starting off a possible 2nd inning. I wasn't super crazy on that. So yeah, I like Pete Alonso batting 2nd or 3rd. I like him getting a chance to bat in the 1st inning. Vincent says it's funny how Hector Neris last 30 innings he's only given up 4 runs. Yeah, Philly's bullpen has really controlled itself. I'll tell you that. Ivan says I really hope yesterday's game with Diaz won't cost us the playoffs. Yeah, watch us like lose this. I said watch us lose. Watch us not make the playoffs because of one game, and that be that one game. Alyssa, I'm waiting to see Hayden on Barstool. I'm taking it. This is great. This is funny. I am hoping that too. I am definitely hoping to see me on Barstools for raging. Someone actually, because I post them on Twitter, so if anyone wants to send my clips of me raging to anyone, please do. I would love to see that. Please do. Please do. David, if you tell the Mets player a fastball is coming, they're going to strike out. Pretty much. David, you summed it up well there, my friend. The Mets cannot hit a high fastball, especially from a left-handed pitcher. Connor, he's doing that. Fire, of course. Appreciate you tuning in. Elaine says, for tonight's lineup, we have, yes, third base, Jonathan VR, of course. Hopefully you did hear my lineup. I do appreciate everyone for dropping up the lineup. 87-year-old Rich Hill, yeah, pretty much, man. Mr. Cool, what's going on? This is funny. Jay does not like Mr. Cool's profile picture. L profile picture. Yeah, I'm sorry I had to see that, Jay. I'm really sorry. I think the sidearm he does when he throws a slider and overhand for his curveball. I know I saw it on Pitching Ninja. Yeah, I want to check out this Pitching Ninja guy. Everyone's telling me I should. If it works, it works. I know originally the goal was that it was just going to be for Soto, but then he started doing it against Escobar, Josh Bell. So if it works, it works. Develop something new. I mean, you don't have a lot of velocity, so, work something. Yeah, listen, man, whatever works, don't, if you're doing work, obviously shut me off, do your work. School is always important. But good to hear. Like Stroman. Yeah, Stroman's been pretty nice. Alcantara. Okay, so I was pronouncing it right. Alcantara. Okay, that's what I figured. I don't know. People say Alcantara, Alcantara. I don't know. People get upset however you pronounce stuff. Devin says the Mets got to start winning, and he said, and then here comes the nice eyes. LOL. Yeah, that's what I had a feeling of. Kobe says, should the Mets extend VR this offseason? Yeah, he is on a 1-year deal. Let me check exactly how much he's getting paid. I mean, I don't think it's going to be an issue, but I'm just curious to see what he thinks. So Jonathan VR signed a 1-year, $3 million deal. Contract with New York. So that much is guaranteed. Yeah, not bad, honestly. I mean, the only thing is I question it. Where is he going to play? Because I think being realistically, VR is going to want to start. I don't think he's going to want to keep coming off the bench. Maybe he will. I mean, maybe he's good off the bench. I don't know. But he's been in the lineup every day, and he's been working. So my question is, VR is going to want to start every day. Depending on what the Mets' moves are this offseason, I mean, can they still keep Villar at third base? Or, I mean, so that's the thing. If you're going to re-sign Baez, then you can't put him at second. So then he's a guarantee at third. He's good at third base, but then, I mean, do you just keep Davis as a bench bat? Do you trade him? I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you this. Someone asked me before, I mean, who do you keep, Pilar or Villar? I mean, I'm simply enough going Villar. But it's tough, though, because, I mean, Pilar, you only have so much outfield depth. I mean, when you're calling up Albert Almora Jr., and not calling up Khalil Lee, it's kind of an issue. Mark's here is going to say, let's freaking go Mets. Of course, dude. Great managing by Don Mattingly. I mean, he's not like a crazy good manager, but, I mean, he was partially successful with the Dodgers. I mean, you saw what he did in 2020. I mean, he was given a new lineup pretty much every day, and he was able to work with it. I mean, we all saw what the Marlins did then. I mean, they pretty much had a new lineup every other day. So I give him props for being able to handle that. I mean, good for him. So, yeah, I mean, he's not the best manager, but I think he's a solid guy. I mean, he won Manager of the Year last year. Mickey Mouse Manager of the Year. Great stream. I appreciate it, Marco. Why not Pete Alonso playing center field? I mean, I don't know. I asked John Fogerty about that. No team is perfect. Yeah, exactly. Regardless, no team is perfect. I mean, the Yankees lost 2 from the Orioles. So, Galapagos, I appreciate it. TP35, Yankees. We have big issues. What should we fix? Yeah, I mean, for a start, I mean, pitching is one thing. Everyone was going into the season saying our pitching's great. Okay, you have Garrett Cole. Okay. I mean, do you really think Jameson Taillon? I mean, I'll tell you this. Neris has been very nice. But the Yankees, they have a lot of stuff to work on, offensively and in terms of the pitching. I mean, defense in the field, that's fine. I don't have any complaints with that. But you have to look at that, Cashman and Boone were trying to go for some remedy this deadline, and it kind of helped them out for a small part. It helped them out for the first 2-3 weeks following. But now, I mean, Gallo, I mean, what was this dude's weighted runs created? I mean, it was, I think, double digits. I don't even think it was that crazy. So Gallo's really been slumping. He's been striking out crazy. And even Rizzo, too, hasn't been, the best offensively. So, I mean, in terms of that, I don't know how the runners and scoring position thing's going on. Like, I don't watch every single Yankees game. But, let's see what's going on with the Yankees. We saw they really struggled against it. I mean, looking now, Gallo's, out of the lineup. I mean, Garrett Cole's on the bump tonight facing our former friend Steven Matz. Yankees are going to have to make some big moves, I think, this offseason. They got a really big stretch ahead. I mean, they still have the wild card spot, but, you got to be careful because the Red Sox are coming behind and the Blue Jays. Yeah. We have 15 people in the chat. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. You 15 people are the real OGs, the real Met fans, or whatever fan you are, sticking around. If you can, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, all that great stuff. Big stuff's coming up ahead for the Mets. And whatever other team you follow. But yeah, I mean, looking at the Yankees, I mean, they've really been struggling. I mean, you lost 8-7. I mean, you had Gary Sanchez give you a grand slam, and you got offensive production early on in the game, and then unfortunately, Yankees bullpen kind of went kaploof. I mean, signing Andrew Heaney, I don't really understand what they think they were going to get out of that. But, whatever. But yeah, hopefully that works. I mean, like I said, I'm not, Michael K. I'm more, the SNY crew, I guess. Nick, let's go Mets, of course. What's your prediction for the series, Alliance says? To be honest, it's a 3-game series. I think we're probably realistically, I think the best we could do is 2 out of 3. I think we could. Let's see what we got. I think, honestly, we'll win the first 2. I think we'll lose game 3. Because I don't see us hitting against left-handed pitcher at this time. Although you never know. Maybe this offense changed. So that's what I'm going to say. 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. We win the first 2. We lose the third one. I'll predict Pete Alonso is going to hit his 100th career home run. I know I've been excited for that. And what else will I predict? I'll predict McNeil. I'll predict Alonso will hit his 100th career home run. And I don't know. We'll just stick with that for now. Mets pursue Raisel Iglesias. Let's take a look-see at him. I always get confused between Iglesias. I think I spelled his name wrong. I probably did. Bullpen pitcher. I mean, where is he now? Oh, he's with the Angels now. What's his contract with the Angels? He was taken. He was reliever of the month in July. I don't know what they. I mean, he had a nice 2020. 4-3, 2.74 ERA, 31 strikeouts, 23 innings worked. That's pretty adequate. Let's take a look-see at his savant. We'll see Raisel Iglesias. Simply taking a look. This dude actually has some good stuff. And he has a nice arsenal. He has 4 pitches. Usually in bullpen pitchers, you see they really only have a fastball and maybe a slider or another pitcher, but he has a 4-seamer, a slider, a changeup, and a sinker. And he uses the 4-seam, the slider, and the changeup more than a quarter of the time. So that's pretty good to see. I mean, for the most part, he gives up a lot of barrels, but I mean, this is awesome. I mean, I don't know what the sample size for this is, but this season, 7-4, 2.66, 30 saves. 61 innings pitched, 92 strikeouts, and a 0.84 whip. Nice. I don't think it shows me FIP on here, but that's pretty adequate. So he's not giving up a lot of hard contact. He strikes out guys. A lot of guys chase. He has velocity. He doesn't walk much guys. He doesn't give up a lot of a launch. All right, yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's a free agent. I mean, the Mets could always potentially trade. We know Castellanos is another guy from Cincinnati that the Mets have been eyeing on, but he has an opt-out, so that's the difference. It says here he's on a 3-year contract, so unless the Mets were to trade, I don't see why we would get him. And this is starting, 2021, and he would be making $9 million. Yeah, so I mean that's a pretty fair move, pretty cheap, nothing too crazy for the Mets, nothing they can't handle. I'd be down to that. It depends what you would give up for it. But, I mean, if we're not giving up anyone crazy, if we're giving up, 2 tail-end prospects and maybe a bench bat, I'm down to that. Phillies, too. I mean, any team that needs bullpen. It's cool if you're not a Mets fan. No worries. Ice Cube, if Brad Hand goes back to what he was before, I'll be very mad. Yeah, because you're a Blue Jays fan, I know. So that would really be unfortunate. Travis, what's going on, man? I appreciate you tuning in. Brother. Kobe. Yeah, Kobe's laughing. Lynn says, it would be sad not to make the playoffs because of the Pirates. Watch. I mean, we got almost swept by the Pirates, so that would really suck if we don't make it because of that. And honestly, if we don't, I mean, that whole Pirates series was just really something itself. I mean, I just don't know. So we'll have to see what goes on for the Mets. going ahead. I mean, they had the opportunity. They were given the chances. So, yeah. Talk about Mark Melanson, Brad Miller, some Philadelphia Phillies. Yankees should get rid of Boone. Yeah, they're probably going to fire him. If they fire Cashman, though, I mean, Cashman's been there since the dude was like my age. So that'd be astonishing if they got rid of Cashman. I mean, Steinbrenner brought the dude in when he was like 20 years old. So that'd be crazy if they got rid of him. But, I mean, how much of it goes to the GM? I mean, I think they thought they were going to get solid production from Rizzo and Gallo. They wanted Remedy from the left-hand side. And, I mean, that's really what they were supposed to get. And they kind of declined since they came to New York. Yeah, the Heaney thing, that made no sense. Like, when they signed Heaney, I was like, interesting. The Yankees, a lot of the moves they made recently really were like, huh. When they signed Gallo, like, I thought it would be interesting. I thought it was a nice, type of medicine from the left-hand side. But I just don't think he can handle New York, maybe. Heaney enough. I mean, I looked at his basic numbers from Anaheim, and they were terrible. And then I look at the deep analytics, and they look even, more crazy. So I'm like, okay. I mean, Jameson Taillon from the Pirates, okay, nothing crazy. But yeah, Yankees pitching is something they really need to change. I mean, you really just got Cole out there, and that's really it. I mean, what's his name? Cortez or Neris, whatever his name is. I guess he's solid, but you can't count on him all the time. Pete, of course. Wild card predictions for both leagues. So let's take a look-see at the wild card. I guess now the season's starting to dial down. Maybe we'll do a nice little segment on the streams for the dozen of you guys watching, where I go over the standings and give my predictions. So maybe I'll take a picture of them or something so I remember them from last week. So simply enough, taking a look-see. We could see right now, this is the standings for Major League Baseball. So pretty much we could see that pretty much the Tampa Bay Rays are, about almost going to get 90 wins. So Rays could probably even get 100 wins. Let me guys know. You think the Rays can get 100 wins? I think it's doable. Rays are a team that just is astonishing. Red Sox and Yankees, they're getting close, very close, and Blue Jays are tailing up there. So personally, I think the Rays will win the division. You got the White Sox. Central's pretty quiet. I mean, you got the Cleveland hovering around 500, and everything else is pretty much whatever. So I got the White Sox taking the division, nothing changing. Probably stay like this for the rest of the season. West is really another close one, too. You got the Astros, Mariners, and Athletics. And then you got the Angels that are kind of competing around 500. I'm probably going to say the Astros are going to take it. And I think as a wild card, we'll see. I think the Astros will probably be in first. I could see the Athletics being second and Mariners third. Thing is, Athletics, their schedule is really around the Rangers and the Astros for the rest of the season. So it's a lot of AL West battles. So it's going to be something. So getting into the National League, we could see that there's a lot of stuff coming on. The National League East. I think the Braves are going to win the division. You got Phillies and Mets pretty close. Mets are 4 games back from the division. And obviously, pretty close back from second place. Nationals and Marlins will probably stay the same. Wow, they're actually tied for 5th place. I didn't know that. Okay. So, yeah, you never know. Who knows? Maybe the Nationals could take over 5th place again. We'll have to see. Central, I think, is going to stay the same. Brewers are going to win the division, and I don't think anything else will be crazy. Cubs have actually been on a roll lately, so that's pretty good to see. Cardinals, kind of disappointing season for them. I mean, they got Arenado. I mean, they have a really old veteran pitching staff, and it's not doing that much for them. 2 games above 500. And then you got the Reds, who I guess expectations were always kind of high for them offensively, so we'll see. And then you got the West. NL West is really something. Pretty much taking a look at the NL West, we could see yesterday taking a look-see at I'm taking a look-see at my phone. Giants took 2 out of this series from the Dodgers. So Giants have claimed 1st place. So that's really something to see. You got the Giants who had a really big season. Personally, I had the Giants finishing in 3rd, 4th place, in the division. I think I had it Dodgers, Padres, Giants, D-backs, Rockies, I think. So that's really crazy to see. I think, honestly, the bottom 3 are going to stay the same. Kind of disappointing season from the Padres. Expectations were really high. Unfortunately, their pitching staff wasn't really able to meet the requirements. Yu Darvish, Blake Snell kind of had some slumps all throughout the season. They got it back together now, but I think it's almost a little too late. But Padres are still a deadly team. Jay Stingler knows how to manage a team. Tatis is a monster. Machado is a monster. Cronenworth, Frazier is a contact hitter. So good to see. Now, obviously, taking a look-see, we could see that the wild card. So let's take a look-see at the wild card. It's pretty much leading the league in division. I mean, obviously, if the playoffs were to end, start right now, you'd have the Rays, Astros, and White Sox taking the division, and the Yankees and Red Sox wild card. I think everyone would watch that wild card, to be honest. And you got the Blue Jays, Mariners, and Athletics rummaging behind, as well as Cleveland. And now going into the National League, you have the Giants, Brewers, and Braves. And in terms of the wild card, you have the Dodgers and Padres. The Padres took sole possession of the second wild card spot from the Reds by a game. So crazy to see that. And then, of course, you have the Reds, Phillies, Cardinals, and Mets really hovering behind, and everything else is below 500. But Cubs have been getting a little hot. Cubs are 8-2 in their last 10, so good to see. Better than all the teams up here. So in terms of it, I honestly could see the rest of the season. I could see, in terms of the National League, I could see the Giants taking the West. I could see. Actually, let me take a look, and see who the Giants are facing. Don't quote me on anything. Let me see who the Giants are. Of course, I get that. Giants are facing the Rockies, the Cubs, the Padres, Braves, Padres, Rockies, D-backs, Padres. So they have, to an extent, kind of easy schedule. You have a couple in division, but then you have a lot of, D-backs, Rockies. So that should be some easy, games for them. Dodgers have Cardinals, Padres, D-backs, Reds, Rockies, D-backs, Padres, Brewers. Yeah, that's something. Honestly, this NL West honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a game 163 with them. That'd be crazy. To be honest with you guys, I'll probably have the Dodgers take it. I'll have the Dodgers take the NL West. The Brewers take the Central, and the Braves take the East. And I'll have the Giants get the first wild card. And Padres are starting to show up, so maybe I'll give them the second wild card spot. Or maybe the Reds. We'll see. Now getting into the American League, I think obviously we'll go the Rays, Astros, and White Sox. I don't have anything changing. In terms of the wild card, it's tough. I mean, ever since, the virus outbreak with the Red Sox, they've really been struggling. Their bullpen's been a little inconsistent. We've been seeing they've been giving up a lot of runs early on and later in games. Garrett Whitlock, unfortunately, choked yesterday in a save opportunity. But let's take a look-see at the Red Sox remaining schedule. Red Sox have an okay schedule. Rays, White Sox, Mariners, Orioles, Mets, Yankees, Orioles, Nationals. So that's not too bad. I mean, they could probably get something going against the Orioles. Maybe Yankees. That's always a good rivalry, Orioles and Nationals. And now taking a look-see at the Yankees. Let's see who the Yankees got. I mean, Yankees should really be something. Taking a look-see at the Yankees. They have the Blue Jays, Mets, Twins, Orioles, Cleveland, Texas Rangers, Boston, Toronto, and the Rays. So they got a lot of individual games too. But I mean, you can't look at it because you lost the series to the Orioles, Angels. I mean, they tied it against the Athletics. To be honest with you guys, to be completely frank, I really could see the Blue Jays start to get hot. The Blue Jays are 8 in their last 2. They have been really hot. They're on a 5-game winning streak. I could honestly see the Blue Jays take a wild card spot. This is tough. Jeez. Okay, so we got the division. Rays are winning the division, Astros and White Sox. But, do I still want to say the Yankees? I mean, the Yankees aren't going to take the first wild card spot. If anything, they take the second. But then the same thing applies with Boston. I mean, they've been struggling too. Honestly, I could see the Blue Jays making the second, and maybe the Red Sox take the first. I don't know. That's tough. And then obviously overall, no team. D-backs are close to 100 losses. Same for the Orioles. I mean, I think they're excluded mathematically from the postseason. I mean, so yeah, good to see. I mean, in terms of a World Series, I mean, a Giants Rays would be pretty nice to see. So yeah, we're gonna have to see how that goes. But hopefully, you guys did enjoy that. Ice Cube. Hopefully, you did enjoy that little segment there. Rizal Iglesias, he's probably like 10 million. Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about Iglesias, but that would be pretty good. Kobe, what's going on? Mark, yes, great stream. NL West is crazy. Jose, what's going on? Galapagos, good stuff. I appreciate it. Yeah, so please, everyone, smash that like button. Turn on those post notifications. If anyone else has any more comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. We got a lot of great stuff going ahead for the New York Mets. Nail biter. It really is a nail biter. These last couple games, last couple weeks for the Mets are really going to be something really good and really crazy. I unfortunately will not be going down to the New York Mets and Miami Marlins series, even though, yes, I am in Florida. I'm pretty close to it, but I unfortunately do have some stuff to do, so I will be unable to go. I was debating about going, but I did go to the last one. I definitely am going to go to a lot of spring training games this offseason. So yeah, otherwise, I appreciate everyone for tuning in here. We'll probably call it a stream in a bit. If anyone else has any more comments, questions, or concerns, drop them below. I did leave a link in the description to an interview I recently did on Reckless Airwaves Radio. I did it with them. Pretty cool people. They did a great job. They pretty much were talking to me about the Mets, giving my takes about the Mets, about the season, and about the high hopes, the front office. And then we briefly did touch about the New York Yankees and Joey Gallo and Rizzo. So if you guys want, please feel free to check that out. It's about like 35 minutes long, so I think I did pretty well on that. So if you guys could, check that out. Link to that in the description. If anyone else has any more comments, questions, or concerns, let me know in the comment section below. I do I think I'll go over the Mets. I will probably go over the Mets remaining schedule, because why not? So yeah, briefly taking a look at the Mets remaining schedule. I appreciate everyone saying good stuff, good stream, of course, guys. Taking a look at the Mets remaining schedule, I mean, they really got a schedule remaining. I mean, you could see you got some series against the Marlins, the Yankees Subway Series, Cardinals, Phillies, Red Sox, Brewers, Marlins, and Braves. So this is going to be something for, the NL East. The NL East is really, really close. I mean, we're at 69 right now. We're at 500. And you know what? I mean, it comes to the point a lot of people were saying, this was a really rough season. 2 weeks before the deadline, I really think a lot of people were really starting to get on the Mets to make moves. And a lot of unfortunate things happen. I mean, a lot of people, when the season started and before, the offseason, a lot of people had the Mets taking the division or, being a second wild card spot. A lot of people, I mean, I think I had the Mets going like 89 and 73, being a second wild card spot, and the Braves winning the division. Phillies being third place, Nationals fourth, and Marlins fifth. That's what I had. And it's just really crazy to see that really things changed. Unfortunate stuff hit. Injuries, I think, was the big thing. I know it's a cheap excuse, injuries. But I really think you got to be realistic with injuries, because it came to a point where, we had Tovar, Williams, Lee, Maben on our lineup. So, you pretty much had the AAA Syracuse, Mets pretty much. And then, you had guys like Conforto miss 2 months. Nimmo missed 2 months. McNeil missed a couple amount of time. Alonso missed a week or two. Dom Smith missed a week. James McCann missed 3 weeks. And it really put a dent in the offense. I really feel it did. A lot of these guys, Conforto, Nimmo, I feel they are still in April or May mode. And the Mets, for the most part, are a second-half team. I mean, everyone says that. The Mets are a second-half team. Well, now I think we're looking at it, and now the Mets aren't even in the second half theoretically because they haven't been able to stay healthy. So the players don't even have a time to have a quarter of the season done without everyone else getting hurt. So, it sucks. It really does. But, that's how the cookie crumbles. Hopefully next season a lot of our players could stay healthy. I think in terms of the shortened 2020 season and then the delayed and unknown in spring training starting and a lot of training centers being closed, I think it had an effect on the players. But I think, next season, I think we'll have new training and medical staff with the Mets. It sucks to see. A lot of this is natural stuff like tightness. All I hear is tightness. Forearm tightness, lat tightness, thigh. It's just like the Mets should be the New York Tightnesses. I don't know. Or that would be a cool name, like the Titans. But yeah, so we'll have to see how it goes with the Mets. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. We're probably going to call it a stream here. If anyone else has any more comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. Obviously, the New York Mets are playing tonight in Miami at 6:40. So in just about an hour, the New York Mets will be starting against the Marlins. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Please, everyone, give this video a like, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. Next live stream should probably be Friday, where I will be going over the New York Mets and Miami Marlins series summary. And then let's see who the Mets play next. And then I will also be talking about the Yankees preview. Okay, so we'll have a Subway Series preview. That should be good. Hopefully we'll get some good people in here. So we're going to have to see how that goes. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Till next time, baseball fans,